what's up, YouTube? Like the Hat King Geo, haha. Hey, how you doing, guys? Look, I just wanted to do this video so you guys out there in other parts of the world can see, or even here in the United States, hopefully you guys are seeing this and you're realizing how demented the Republican Party is. Here you have a man in Georgia by the name of Herschel Walker. I'm not going to take anything away from Herschel Walker from his playing career because that man earned it. He was a great running back, etc., etc., etc. But this is a man who is being backed up by Donald Trump because he follows Donald Trump's tail. And he won a primary. He is the elected Republican nominee for the Republican Party to run for Senate in Georgia. Now, this is a man that has put a gun, who has pulled out a gun to his girlfriend, who has been reported to be violent, and yet this is a man who was voted as a primary to become a member of Senate. Then if you listen to his videos, his interviews on gun control, they're idiotic. Makes no sense at all. He doesn't even know how to speak. On abortion, doesn't even know how to speak. If you listen to him, he's incoherent. Worse than Biden. I mean, at least Biden, you could say his age, but Herschel Walker, I heard him talk, and I heard his interview, and he made no sense at all. And yet people voted for this man to be runner-up because of Trump. They didn't vote for him because he has the experience to run for Senate. They didn't vote for him because he is the better candidate, because he not only has the experience, but he is for the people. You know, they didn't vote for him because they voted because Donald Trump backed them up. And now there are a lot of senators out there, or governors, or whatever the case may be, that were following Trump's tail, and they lost. I mean, and they won their primary. I mean, there are those who was with Trump and lost the primaries, and there are those who weren't with Trump that won their primaries, and they won the candidacy. But what I'm trying to tell you is that people no longer, and especially the Republican side, people no longer look for people who I don't want to say values, because everybody has their own different values, and I don't want to keep this monotony thing that, you know, that abortion this and abortion that, or gun laws, because everybody has their own opinion. No one, you know, those people who are for gun laws don't understand why the Second Amendment was made. If you really want to know why the Second Amendment was made, it was not to defend the people, for you to bear arms in case someone was about to steal something from you or kill you. It was because they didn't want the blacks to own guns. You know, could you imagine black people owning guns in those days? They will uprising, they will kill their owners, right? That's why it was done, the Second Amendment. But anyway, so to talk about something that he does not know about, that he does not represent the people, because he lives in a mansion. He's a millionaire. He just, you know, he's never had a political life. He does not know what it is. So how can you vote for him? And then when things don't go right, then you blame the president. These are the men who decide what happens, not the president of the United States of America. Okay, Joe Biden or Donald Trump can make can have an idea, can say to the public, "This is what I think. This is what I want to do, or this is what I'm gonna do." That's the problem with them. They say they're gonna do, and they know it. They say they're gonna do, and what happens is that when they say they're gonna do, you have to answer to the Senate and the House of Representatives. They're the one that makes the decisions. Okay, I can say I'm gonna do this, but if the House says no and the Senate says no, it's no. It's a no. So we can't put all the blame on the President of the United States, because his power is limited. Because the ones that do make the choices are the Senate and the House of Representatives. So you choose your senators wisely. You choose your House of Representatives wisely. Because those are the ones that make the decisions. Look at now. Look at now. The Democrats voted to stop price gauging in at the pumps. They voted yes, price gauging on the pumps of the gas, so gas stations and don't gauge the price too high. There's a limit. So the Democrats, they all said yes, except for 4, I think, and all Republicans voted no, voted against it. So they don't want a price gauging law. They don't want to set a limit. So that right there tells you where the Republicans are. The Republicans are not the party of the past. The Republicans are not the party of 30 or 40 years ago. No. There's too many lobbyists in Congress. All right? Too many people having too much power that with the money, they're going to say, no, you can't do this because it's going to hurt us. So the Republicans say no. And for what? For bids. So they can get reelected. And even if they don't get reelected, they got the money of these people, of these oil companies, of these pharmaceuticals. They got their money. Because that's what they got the lobbyists for. Okay? So why would you vote for a man who has gun charges? Why would you vote for a man that you know he had domestic violence, and you know that he took out a gun on a woman? We know that. And now he's talking about black people not having kids not having their parents. He himself just said that himself just yesterday came out that he has a 10-year-old son or daughter, a 10-year-old son that he hasn't seen in 10 years. So the hypocrisy is right there. You're running for something, and at the same time you're hiding from something. You think that no one's going to find out that you have an illegitimate son, that he himself, not you, that he himself hasn't even spent time with, doesn't even know who he is. And that's the person that Georgia wants. Those are the values that Georgia has. You're going to vote for a man that hasn't seen his kid in 10 years, that never seen his kid before. But they said that they said that he's giving him money, he's passing child support. That's nothing. As a father, you're there for your kids. I prefer being there with my kids. Of course, I'm going to give child support, but I prefer being there than child support. Child support is nothing. It's sustaining the child's life, but the child needs a father in his life. Needs a father figure. Needs to be there. You're a football star. You can tell your son your stories. Your son can admire you and say, I want to be like my dad. Someone's going to grow up. Why would I want to be like my dad? He's never been in my life. Look, he got all this money, and he never really even spent time with me. Is that the person that you want in office representing you, Georgia? Just because Donald Trump, the man who still says that there was a lie, that the election was stolen, that's the one that you want. You got Marjorie Taylor Greene, who's another moron in Georgia, and you're still voting for, you're still behind this woman who has no idea what the time of day is. That doesn't even know how the earth rotates, if the earth rotates, if there's an axis, if there's not an axis, if we doesn't know if there's an ozone layer, an invisible ozone layer. She doesn't even know any of that. But yet, she's behind a narrative that they put out for her. Okay? And the people buy it. And who buy it? Not smart Republicans. And I'm sorry to say this, uneducated Republicans who love gossip, watch the Jerry Springer show. Nothing wrong with Jerry Springer. Watch the Jerry Springer show. Ain't got nothing to do. Got nothing to do. Okay? So just think about that. Think about that. You have someone who played football, has no idea how the Senate works, that doesn't know anything about law. Is going to go into the Senate to fight for your rights. A man who has abused women, a man who has taken out a gun on a woman, and a man who has abandoned a child. That's the person that you want. And then you have, I forgot his name, I saw it yesterday, but there was a senator who preached in front of a evangelical church, and I wish I knew the church's names because so I can spell them out. He said gay people. He said people who have abortion, but he said gay people should be hung and shot. hung and shot in front of a church, and the church applauded. The same evangelical church who invited him to speak, they applauded him for saying that. What kind of Christian teaching is that? What kind of Christian applauds the killing of another man, regardless of whether he or she is gay or not? What kind of Christian does that? That's why I don't call myself a Christian. I call myself a man who fears God, because that word Christian carries a lot, and I don't want to be part of that fallacy. Okay? We're not here to judge people. If you're a true Christian, you're not here to judge no man. You're not here to say because you're gay, you're not going to enter the kingdom of heaven. You're not here to say because you're gay, you don't got God's love. Because he who cast the, he who's free of, remember, and when Jesus said, he who is free of sin cast the first stone. No one did it. Because we're all sinners. And if being gay is a sin, that's between that person and God. All right? Not between you and that person. You're supposed to love thy neighbor, love thy brother, regardless of the color of the skin and regardless of the sexual orientation. That's it. You're not supposed to get involved in these political things that's out there in the world. Remember, God told you, remember when Jesus was here on earth, he said, I'm not from this world. You're from this world, but I'm not from this world. My world is different. And that's what he wants you to do. He wants you to take and separate God's love and law against man's love and law. Because there are two different things, and they're two very conflicting things. You cannot say you cannot say in one part you want to have abortion, right? As a Christian, you don't want abortion, but yet you allow the sexual immorality, as they say, that you cannot have sex without being married, to happen. So you're committing one sin and doing another. That cannot happen. Okay? One sin is not greater than the other. All sins are all the same in the eyes of God. But Christianity doesn't believe in that. So you have to, as a God-fearing man, you have to separate yourself from that fallacy. Don't judge no one. Okay? Don't be judgmental. You know, it is what it is. You know, you have to live life accordingly. And even if you don't believe in God, the things that say in the Bible, those are the ways to actually to live. You love thy neighbor. You help your neighbors. You love to help other people out. To love yourself. Don't steal. Don't steal. Don't kill. Don't say lie. Don't covet thy neighbor's wife, because you don't want someone you don't want to go in a relationship and someone come and have your wife, or your wife go have another man's wife, and your wife goes, no. Those are things that you don't do. You don't need a Bible for the Bible to tell you that this here is common sense. It's what's in your heart. You don't do unto others what others do. You don't want others to do unto you. You know? And you don't need a Bible to tell you that, but the Bible tells us that to remind you, because that's the way God is. And like I said, even if you don't believe in God, that's common sense. Those are common sense things. All right? So, how can you stand there as a Christian and say, oh, gay people should be shot and hung to death? People with abortion, and all these people that are going against abortion, that don't want abortion, have never in their life probably adopted a child, but yet they don't want abortion. Never fostered a child. And then when these young women get raped, they don't want to have an abortion, but yet they're not going to pay for their Medicaid. They're not going to pay for their welfare. They're not going to pay none of it. They don't want you to get on welfare. It's a double sword. So why are you going to vote for a man? It's just telling you how repugnant it is to be a Republican. It's sad. It's sad on both sides, to be honest with you. But it's even sadder when I see someone like Herschel Walker, the things that he did, all right, and he still won a primary. It's just like Puerto Rico. Puerto Rico is in a state that they're in right now because they chose a governor who they know they crack, but Puerto Rico keeps going back and forth. They vote Democrat, they vote Republican, they vote Democrat. They don't vote outside the box. They had plenty of part of. They could have chosen another party. They have great people beside the two primary parties in Puerto Rico, but they didn't. They chose a man who right now is basically selling Puerto Rico out to rich people. People are getting displaced. People are losing their homes because there's a law in Puerto Rico that if they pass a law in Puerto Rico that if you're rich, you can go to Puerto Rico. You live there for 10 months, right? You establish residence for 10 months. I think it's 10 months. And then you don't pay federal taxes if you own a business. As long as you help Puerto Rico get its employ people. That's not helping Puerto Rico. Has done nothing for Puerto Rico. People are not getting jobs. People are moving out there, establishing residency, stay there if they stay there, or they just establish an address. They establish an address, and when it comes tax time, they don't pay taxes. Everything that they make, because they say they made it from Puerto Rico, is there to keep. No federal taxes whatsoever. No taxes in Puerto Rico ever. Or you think this fighter Paul, whatever that you hear his name, I don't even follow him, went to Puerto Rico when he fought. Because he didn't want his money, taxed. And a lot of people are buying land and making those land Airbnb. This man who just bought a building in Puerto Rico and displaced all the tenants and said, you have 30 days to move out because I'm doing something differently. Because he had no money, he had to borrow that money. Because the government of Puerto Rico is making it easier for outsiders to come in, and the people who live inside Puerto Rico, the residents of Puerto Rico, don't have that luxury. They have to pay their taxes. They have to pay their share. You know, but foreigners don't. Just the other day, they tried to, they bought a building and they wanted to build a wall on a beach. To make it private. And beaches in Puerto Rico are not owned by the government. It's owned by the public. It's a public. They're public beaches. They're not private. So you can't build on public land. And they did it. And then when they got heat of it, the government said take it down because it was because of the outcry. If not, they already had the murals, everything up. If not, they would just build it. And they're displacing a lot of people. Why? Because the governor of Puerto Rico, Pierluisi, wants to pay back the money that's owed to stock shareholders. Stock shareholders that he himself, as a lawyer, is representing. He's representing firms. That's why he's doing it. Because the last administration was not going to pay those firms. I mean, the stockholders, because we didn't have the money. That's another whole different story. So why vote for Herschel Walker? That just tells you how bad the system is. That just tells you how bad. That just tells you how bad the Republican Party is. It just tells you how naive and brainwashed people can be. Uneducated people. And I'm going to keep saying uneducated people because as long as you vote for Donald Trump, as long as you vote for Major Taylor Greene, as long as you vote for Matt Gaetz, as long as you vote for Lauren Bobbitt, all those people who have no brain cells, you are uneducated. You can vote for a Republican, but vote for an educated Republican who knows what he or she is doing, who is for you, not for the rich people, but for you. Separate. I'm telling you, start learning to separate. If you're a true Christian, start learning to separate what's of man and what's of God. Remember, Jesus said, give to Caesar what belongs to Caesar, and give to God what belongs to God. And if you keep doing this, following Herschel Walker and following all these people, and the evangelical church keeps doing this, there's no salvation for you. I'm not one to say you're not going to go to heaven, but there's no way that you can applaud sin and still go or have anything. Just detach yourself from the fallacy and come to reality. Give God what is to God, what belongs to God. And if you want to vote for them, whatever the case may be. But sustain yourself from that. That's not going to get you anywhere. Look at that guy who went to Judge Gertz, whatever the guy, I forgot the judge's name also. They went there to kill him because he didn't believe his belief. You know how sick is that? Even though Judge Kavanaugh, you know how sick is that? Even if he was a Democrat who did this, you know how sick is that you go to a judge's house, you want to kill him because eating in line with your belief, so what? He has his opinion. He has a right to his opinion. This is a world. We have a right to everything. We have a right to speak, talk, whatever. But that's his right. Just because I don't like someone doesn't mean I'm going to go to the house. Or just because I don't like the opinion of someone doesn't mean I'm going to go to the house and just oust that person. That's not reality, bro. And this is how far people have taken politics. They take it to heart. Let the man Biden govern. Let the man Biden let the man Biden govern. Let him do his job. But behind doing his job, look at the people who are going against the things that Democrats are voting for. Things that are good for you, the Republican Party is not voting for, but yet they make it sound that it's the Democrats. They make it sound that they're doing it for your benefit. And you have to wake up and smell the coffee. Truly, you really do.